Kimberly Achelis-Hoggan, and this is a video I'm making for students at the University of Utah. I go in and do teacher trainings there. So this is a class for the University of Utah students. They'll probably be sharing with some of my students as well, but no, this is for them. So I wanted to start this class with a review of the story we talked about last time. I'll introduce a few of the alignment principles that I'll be using in today's practice, and then we'll go through a shorter sequence. I tried doing this in my yoga space, but the lighting was not good. So we're in the kitchen, and my kids are watching a podcast in my bedroom. So there is a very likely chance that kids will run in here at some point. We're working with what we got. Okay, so let's take a moment to center. Take an upright seated posture with your eyes closed. Acknowledge what is present for you, what's present in the room, in your surroundings, and also what's present internally. Letting be what is, and without needing to push anything away, let your awareness open up more. So those things can be there, but you're more expanded. You can be more calm, more steady, while there are distractions. Use your breath and your concentration as a way to soothe yourself if you experience any kind of anxiety or dis-ease in this moment. And push down through your sit bones, lift up through the crown of your head a little bit more. And we'll start with tuning into the Anusara invocation. Draw your hands in front of your heart, draw them together, create some heat. Take the thumbs up to the sternum, lift the chest up to the thumbs. And feel the energy of this pose. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave. I bow down to the teacher inside me and all around me. Satchitananda Mortaye, that has the qualities of truth, consciousness, and bliss. So that which is real, the wisdom that comes with connecting with what is real, that deep knowing that connects us to a bliss that doesn't change when the situations of our life changes. A steady bliss during both the highs and lows of our experience. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave, Satchitananda Mortaye, Nishprapanchaya Shantaya. It's always present, this energy is always present and is deeply peaceful. Niralambaya Teja, say it doesn't need anything to exist. And it sparkles, there's this radiance to it, it's the sparkle in our eye. And take a full breath in. Hold the breath, lengthen through the spine. Out. And then we'll begin in. Om Namah Shivaya Gurave, Satchitananda Mortaye, Nishprapanchaya Shantaya, Niralambaya Tejas. notice the way you feel. Mantra is a great way of switching your nervous system from flight or fight to rest and digest. The mechanisms in the ear, if they detect sound that should flip that flight or fight on, it does, and sounds that are more soothing, which mantra is, helps you become more calm, more relaxed. And in that more calm and relaxed space, you increase your immunity. So, chanting is a great practice. Okay, let your eyes open. Okay, this is one of my favorite stories I'm going to share with you. So a long, long time ago, right, this is an ancient myth, there's a snake and he's laying on Lord Vishnu's back. And all of a sudden, Lord Vishnu, he starts to like undulate, right? And the snake wakes up. He was sleeping and he's like, what is going on, Lord Vishnu? Why are you convulsing? And Lord Vishnu says, I'm watching Shiva dance the Ananda Tandava. And the Ananda Tandava is the dance of bliss. Within the dance of bliss, there's creation, things are being sustained, things are being destroyed, things are being concealed. So it's this pulsation of like what we consider beautiful, but also what we consider painful. All of this is contained in Shiva's dance, but yet it's called the dance of bliss, and it contains all the teachings of yoga within it. So Vishnu is responding to witnessing this dance of bliss with such like awe that his body shakes. And this snake becomes really curious and is like, well, I want to see Shiva dance the Ananda Tandava. And Lord Vishnu says, in order to witness this dance, you have to have all five senses. You have to be at least part human. So the snake goes through all of these things to become part human. And one of them, he prays and he falls into this woman's hands. Now, I forget the name of the woman, but she's praying for a child. And out of the sky falls this half snake, half man into her hand. So Patanjali is fallen into the hands of Anjali Mudra. So Patanjali is born, and then the story goes on until he finds his way. He's looking like, okay, now I'm on Earth. Where is Shiva doing this dance? So he hears that it's taking place in the Tilai forest. So he travels, and different stories denote different amount of times that this takes. So he travels to this Tilai forest. He's looking around. He's there for a very long time, like, where is Shiva doing this dance? And then one day he finds this Shiva Lingam, which is like a stone that represents Shiva. And this stone is decorated with all of these beautiful flowers, the most beautiful flowers that he has ever seen. And he's like, this must be important, so I need to find an offering to give the Shiva Lingam. This is a digression. It's another part of the story I like. I'm going to share it anyways because it's just so good. So he spends a lot of time looking for these same flowers. He's like, these are the best flowers that I've ever seen. I want to make this same offering. And he spends so much time looking for these flowers and he can never find the flowers. And then he's like, okay, I don't know where the flowers are, so I'm going to find my own authentic offering. And since he's a snake, he can burrow into the ground. So he burrows deep, deep, deep into the earth and he finds these special seeds. And then he places the seeds at the Shiva Lingam. And when the seeds are placed and the flowers are placed, the Shiva Lingam bursts out into the Nataraja, the dancing Shiva. So the part I like to connect with this is it has to be an authentic offering. We later learn in the story, or now, that the flowers were left by the Vyaghrapada, the tiger pod sage. So since he has tiger paws, he can climb up these really big tilai trees, and on the very top of the tilai trees are where these orchids grow. So it wouldn't have been possible for the snake, Patanjali, to have slithered all the way up there. He didn't have the claws. Same thing, the tiger pod sage wouldn't have been able to bury deep into the ground to get the seeds. So we all have our own offering, right? So your pose doesn't need to look like the person's pose next to you, doesn't need to look like the pose in the Instagram feed. Here they come. Oh, thank you. So then Shiva begins to give his dance, the Ananda Tandava. And the position they take is really important. So this is an image of the Nataraja, and he's dancing these, they call them the 5 acts of Shiva.
Found you!
Found you.
Is that your phone?
Yes, I'm making making a video for some students. Do you want to say hello?
Is that your phone?
It is my phone. It's out of the case. It's pretty, huh? It's pretty fragile when it's not in the case. Okay, will you guys go finish listening to the podcast?
I love that phone.
I love you. Okay, go back into the bedroom, please.
Let's go back into today.
Working with what's available to us, right? Okay, so this is an image of Shiva dancing the Nataraja. He's often described as having dreadlocks, which I love because I've had dreadlocks for years. And in this dance, things are concealed, things are created, things are sustained, things are destroyed, and then they're concealed again. So this is life, right? Like in every breath we take, every day, every relationship, every flower that grows, everything goes through these things, which is so beautiful. And he's dancing on this little demon of ignorance. So forgetting all of the stuff that we're learning is part of the dance. We're trying to remain steady as we stand on this demon of forgetfulness. Okay, so the position we take. So Patanjali sits over here, and the Vyaghrapada sits over here, and Shiva does his dance of bliss, and both of them are receiving the teachings of yoga. They're receiving the same teachings of yoga, but based on the perspective they're at, they're getting different information. Patanjali is getting this turn away from the world. So Patanjali goes on to teach about duality and how you need to turn away from a lot of the experiences in modern day life because they can distract you from your practice. They can distract you from the goal of yoga, which is samadhi, which is entering this deep space of seeing things clearly as they really are and getting bliss from it. But Patanjali gets this teaching of turn away from the world, become a renunciate. The Vyaghrapada gets this teaching of you can come into the world, you can, he ends up teaching on non-duality or the householder's yoga. So you can go to college, you can have a family, you can pay taxes, you can live in the world when there's a pandemic going on, and you can use whatever is happening for your enlightenment, for your deepening of your practice, that which brings you even more to experiencing the samadhi. And if you didn't have those things, it might be harder to have it because it's the turning into the life that's the teaching of yoga instead of turning away from it. So I just think that's so beautiful. What position are you taking physically? What position are you taking in your yoga pose? Also, what position are you taking in your mind? What position are you taking when there's a challenge in front of you? Are you turning away from it? Or are you trying to figure out how to engage it in a way that can elevate you, elevate the other person, and elevate the whole world? That's what we're going to be working with today. So I teach a style of yoga called Anusara. Last time we were together, we talked about 3 of the principles. The first one is open to grace, and this includes the stance that you're taking, how wide it is. One of the big things we're going to be focusing on today is the rooting down into your foundation, which gives you a lifting up. So this is often referred to as root to rise. We also talked a little bit about muscle energy, drawing the muscles towards each other, engaging the muscles so that you can create more stability, and then after doing that, stretching away from each other for more length. So you can use these 3 same principles and connect them to the story and as a way to live our life. So especially today is where every hour there's a new email about how our world is, the way we're relating to the world is starting to change. So open to grace. How can we open up to what's in front of us? We don't need to turn away from it. How can we open up and be like, okay, this is what's in front of me. How can I root into myself, root into my foundation, root into my practice so that I can continue to rise? And it gives me chills just to think everything that's coming to us is an opportunity to deepen our practice, right? It's just so amazing. So that's what we're working with today as we move through the practice, really pushing down into the foundation, into our hands and our feet, and looking for the rise, looking for different parts of our body going up that shows us that we're really rooting down. We'll also work a little bit on stabilizing the body by engaging the muscles and also extending out to find some length. Okay, so if you're not already at your mat, come on over to your mat. I will probably be using a block and a blanket. I'm gonna make sure it's still recording. Nice. Okay. Come to stand at the front of your yoga mat. I'll probably be changing both ways to give you a better view. So stand at the front of your yoga mat and push down through your right foot. And then switch, push down through your left foot. Both feet on the floor. The foundation of the feet are the four corners of the feet push. So big toe mound, inner heel mound, pinky toe mound, outer heel mound, toe pads. Push that down so much and notice what you feel lift. One of the first things you should feel lift is the arches of your feet. And if you can continue to root down, you might even feel the crown of your head lift. You can take your hands up onto the top of your head and push through your feet and get taller up through the crown of your head. All right, shift your weight to your right foot and keep pushing. And notice if your left knee is lower than your right knee. So if you're not rooting down, your left knee will drop below the right knee. And if you're pushing down, the left knee will lift up. So these rises is a result of the work we're doing, that cause and effect. Begin to take some movement. This always reminds me of Shiva Vinataraja. Can I keep my stability? Can I keep my concentration? Can I keep, he's described as having a hint of a smile on his face. Can I keep my hint of a smile amongst the chaos? Okay, really nice. Step back to lunge. So remember, first principle, the stance that you're taking. So if you're really wide, narrow it in. If you're really crossed, widen it. Since I do have young kids, I always think, if a kid ran into me, how likely would it be if I fell? And I always want to try to take a stance where it wouldn't be very likely. Okay, hands on your hips, front knee over your ankle, push down through your feet. And again, feel the rise all the way up through the crown of the head. Stretch your arms up to the sky. All right, take your right hand to your left wrist, left palm facing the right wall. Stretch up and over to the right. Push down so much that you can get your left low ribs to open up. Belly button pulls in towards the spine. Come back up through center. Switch hands, right palm extends to the left while left hand holds right wrist. Pull up and over. Right, come back through center. Plant your hands, step back to plank. And then you lower your knees down to table position. In table, it's the same thing. We want to push down to the index, mound, inner heel, pinky toe mound, outer heel. And the index finger lifts the most, so that's when you really want to push down through. Push down through your hand until you feel a lift in the center of your hand. That's like the arch of the hand. See if you can even push down where you feel your core engage. And then walk your knees back a little bit for modified push-up position. Lower down a few inches. As you lower, shift your chest forward and pause. And you really have to push here through your hands and through your knees so you don't just drop. Straighten your arms. Hint of a smile, bend. Straighten, bend. Come all the way down to your belly. Squeeze your legs together. Push through the toenails until you feel the tops of your feet lift away from the floor. Pull your belly in away from the floor, and now try to drag your heart forward away from your hips. Squeeze your shoulder blades together and down and open your heart up. Palate of the mouth parallel to the floor. Think about levitating your head away from your collarbones towards the sky. Then push through your hands, downward facing dog. In your downward facing dog, drag your sitting bones up and back, pull your belly button in, and draw your shoulders, your heart towards your hands as you suck your shoulders into the shoulder sockets. And then look forward to come forward, bottom of your exhale, step or hop. Uttanasana. Inhale, lengthen halfway up. I like to take my hands to the thighs, making it easier to do better alignment. so I'm not training the round. Take your hands to your hips. Come all the way up, standing. Right, push down through your left foot. Lift your right knee up. Begin to move the right leg around. Think about yourself as this. No matter what comes your way, no matter if things in your life feel like they're dissolving in front of you or new things are being created, can you maintain this hint of a smile? If you fall, no big deal. Step back lunge. Take a moment and pause. How is your stance? Does it need to be shorter, wider? Take your hands to the top of your head. Back leg straight, front knee over your ankle. Push down through your feet and try to elevate your head up, holding space between your vertebrae. Stretch your arms up to the sky. Shoulder blade tips, scapula tips draw down and towards each other. So as you reach up, you're creating more space in your torso. And then left hand holds right wrist, stretch up and over to the left. Come back up through center, switch your hands, left palm faces right wall. Right hand holds left wrist, stretch up and over. Come back through center. Hinge forward, plant your hands, step back, plank. Lower your knees. And neck, knuckle, fingers strong. Hands shoulder width apart or wider. Bend your elbows and pause. Push down so much your belly stays lifted. Lower down to your belly. Strengthen through your legs. Engage the arms. Drag yourself forward. Downward facing dog. Notice if you're dropping yourself. This kind of drop doesn't serve the alignment as much. Keep the shoulders lifted. If you have a laser, if you imagine the laser shining out of your heart, you want it to go between your thumbs. And then look forward, index knuckle, fingers strong, step or hop, Uttanasana. Inhale, heart forward. Hands to your hips. Come all the way up. Bring your hands on your heart, breathe. Flip your mat over if it was flipped the wrong direction. And then open your eyes, find your spot of focus. Balance on your right leg, lift your left knee up. Again, range of movement. Turn towards you. We're going to come into tree pose. So foot could be down here, anywhere but the knee. Tree is a pretty common pose to push the hips out this way and you get this collapse through the legs. So begin to push down through your foot so much your right hip draws into the midline and then squeeze the legs together. This idea of opening up to whatever is present and then squeezing in, finding your security, and then from there, extending. If you feel pretty confident in tree, try closing your eyes. It's really good to confront your practice and find places where you're not as good in your own eyes, not meeting your own expectations. I think that's where the growing edge really is. When you can't do something, that's when the work begins. Lift up the left foot, slowly step back, lunge. This time we're gonna lower the left knee down to the floor. I like to lower a cushion down. This is what a collapse, rocket, move out of the way. This is what a collapse in this pose looks like. The hips get really low. So begin to push down through the legs. If you push down, you'll get this lifting up. And you also squeeze the legs together, forward and back. I'll think about it sometimes is squirting out toothpaste. My husband always gets frustrated because I'm on toothpaste, I just squeeze anywhere. He's always like, you gotta work it from the bottom so you get this lifting up. Stretch the arms up to the sky. Oh, thank you. That has my yoga poses written on it. Okay, really nice. Plant your hands. Step back to modified push-up position. You can stay here in modified or lift up your knees. Plank. You have to really push in plank so you don't drop. Push.
He's outside. He's outside.
Bend your elbows a little bit and pause. And straighten. Bend. Come down to your belly. Engage your legs. Cobra. Downward facing dog. Look forward to come forward. Bottom of your exhale. Step or hop. Uttanasana. In your Uttanasana, look at your feet as you push down through your feet and watch the stability that happens at the ankles. Inhale, lengthen forward. Hands to your hips, come on up. Push through the left foot, lift up through the right knee. Range of movement. And then tree pose. Squeezing the legs in towards each other. Rooting down. And feeling that drawing in and up like the toothpaste. Extend the arms, maybe close the eyes. Slow motion, step back lunge. Lower the back knee down to the mat or a cushion. Last week we talked about the foot. So you can either have the back toes, or last time we met, you can either have the back toes tucked under or you can point them. If you point them, make sure the foot's not sickling like a crescent moon. The foot, pinky toe, second toe about in line with the heel. Push down through the legs, squeeze in, and stretch up. All right, plant your hands. Step back plank. Lower your knees, sit back to your heels, seated meditation. So when something comes in to your mind, we don't want to turn away from it. That's like trying to renounce it. Like, I can't deal with that thought. That thought doesn't serve me. Instead, there's always teachings in whatever is present. One of them can be making your experience so big that the uncomfortable things can be there without overpowering your experience. This is something I've been sharing a lot recently, but it's just so good. I think everyone needs to hear it again and again. If you have a tablespoon of salt and you put it in a shot glass of water, you can't even drink the water in the shot glass because it's so salty. That's like letting your experience, letting the thing that's uncomfortable for you be so powerful it flavors your whole experience.
Mom,
Just a second.
Mom, can I have a jacket? No, like jacket. No, like a jacket thrown in your room.
Okay, you can see if you can find a jacket. Both kids are now outside.
Mommy, please. Please. You're in your room.
very sorry for these distractions. I really thought the podcast would entertain them. Anyways, now imagine instead of a shot glass, you had like a lake or gallons and gallons of water. If you put that same tablespoon of salt in that water, you wouldn't even be able to taste it because you're so much bigger, right? So right now, use your practice. Let whatever is there be there. Don't push it away. That's just stuff you have to deal with later. Let it be there. Make yourself expand. Make yourself expand so you can feel the bliss that's there even in the painful moments, even in the moments that are scary and uncomfortable. Okay, now we're going to come into modified push-up position again. Index knuckle fingers strong, and we're going to move both of our feet to the right. The left knee will lift and come into like a variation of modified side plank. That index knuckle finger stays strong. Come back through plank, go to the other side. Left index knuckle strong, and if you're really pushing down through the left knee and the left hand, the ribs will lift, the hip will lift, this knee might lift. Come back again, push down. See how much you can lift because of the press. And then we're going to take this left leg and step it all the way forward. And that does not need to be some smooth transition. You could just take as many steps as you need to get there. Left foot forward. I like to go right knee on a blanket. Pivot the right foot to the left. Modified warrior two. Stretch your arms out. Push down, get taller. Tip up and back, reverse warrior. Come forward, elbow to thigh. Here's an example of what it would look like if I wasn't pressing. And I'm gonna push down so I get a lot more lift, I get bigger. Stretch the top arm up or over. Great, come back up, second warrior pose. Tip back one last time, reverse warrior. Or you could go fingertips to the floor, but only if it doesn't hurt. If it hurts, that's not an offering that you should make right now. It's never worth getting injured over a yoga pose. You want to do yoga so it helps your functionality and vitality. And then use your core. Ooh. Come on, back up. Okay, second side, come back to your modified plank. Feet to the right. Feet to the left. Lift the right leg up. Swing it forward. Maybe throw a blanket under your left knee. Pivot yourself. Modified warrior two. You can take your hands on top of your head, figuring out how to push down so you get taller. Open the arms, gaze over the front fingertips, reverse warrior. This isn't about how deep you can get, it's about how lifted you can get. Come forward, modified Parsvakonasana. Shoulders squeezing towards the back of the heart. Reverse warrior one more time. Maybe hand to floor. And use your core. Come on back up. Okay, we're going to do that again. And you can repeat modified side plank, or you can do it on your toes. So in plank, index knuckle fingers down. I'm going to take my right pinky toe edge to the floor, left foot stacks on top. Lift up. And second side. Left finger knuckles strong. First side again. You don't have to do this transition, or you can play with lifting this leg up, stepping it forward, ground your right heel, second warrior pose. Pinky edge of the right foot parallel to the back of the yoga mat, left knee over the ankle, hands on your head, push down, get taller. Front knee draws to the left, so it stays facing towards the toenails. Feel what you're feeling, feel your breath, your heart. maybe some perspiration. Notice the chatter in your mind, if it's liking this or if it's not. Don't push anything away. Everything can be the nutrients for our growth. Reverse. Come forward, Parsva Konasana, elbow to thigh, or fingertip to the floor or the block, but no low. Try to see how high you can get. Plant your hand, step back, plank. Heels to the left, stack your feet to the right. Oops. To the left. Lift the right foot. Step it forward. Second warrior pose. Reverse warrior. I like my hand here rather than here because it can help root me down so I can rise. Come forward. Really nice. Step back, downward facing dog. Really nice seated meditation. Eyes closed. Feel your whole self expanding, even if you might feel contracted, like by your physical circumstances, being told you can't leave your house, go to school, hang out with your friends. Can you tap into this power of still being able to expand? Let your eyes open. We're gonna come up to a low lunge. Right foot forward, left knee, I like the blanket. This is a pretty short low lunge. Hands on your hips. You can stay here, or we're going to be going into a quad stretch. Right hand can come to the right knee, left hand to the foot. Remember, for the alignment of the foot, we still want to be doing something. Oftentimes people's foot that they're holding will look like a half moon, like a crescent. So either floint your foot, which is pointed, pull the toes back. That's what I do. I point my toes, but then I pull the toes back while I push my hand into the foot. The other one you can do is hold the base of the shin and flex the foot. And then don't push through the left knee, and the hips will kind of bulge to the left, and then push down. Belly in, lengthen through the head. Right, release that, switch sides. We'll do it without the foot to start with, so like the hips kind of pop that way. So this is one way you can dislocate your hip, popping out of the socket laterally. Now push through the left knee and the hip will draw it in. So I'm not trying to draw my hip in, I'm pushing down and the effect is it draws in. Reach back for the foot. Activate the right toes, pull the belly button to the spine, root down through the foot, especially if it tap dances. That where it's lifting up is where you need to root more. From your hips, push down through the feet into the earth. From your hips, lift up through the crown of your head. Really nice. I'm going to do pigeon, because I think pigeon is really important to teach to teachers. I think pigeon can be done in a way that can be injurious, I feel like that's a word, to people. So if pigeon wouldn't make your knee happy, that's a great thing to know. Pigeon shouldn't be your offering. As someone who wants to be a teacher, watching this would be educational. You can also do another lunge, or you could do pigeon on your back. If you do pigeon on your back, I recommend you cross the legs a lot more than what is normally done with this figure 4. Okay, so the way we're gonna get into pigeon is come to table, walk the knees up to the right hand, lift the feet and move the feet, move both of the feet to the left. Now take the left knee, lift it up, cross it over, walk the left knee so it's behind the right heel. So you could come up like this and be in a pigeon. The right toes are pointed and the toenails are pushing firmly, constantly into the floor. You can stay here, or you can begin to walk the knee back. I want you to find a place where you can still squeeze in and lift. Sometimes students will have hands on blocks, so it's not asking as much of the legs. Squeeze in, muscle energy, push down. If you want, you can stretch the arms up. I'm not a huge fan of the pigeon where your shin is parallel to the front of the yoga mat. I think that puts a unneeded torque on the front knee. You could do a little side stretch here, one side, other side. And come on out. This way of getting into it is a lot, but it tends to avoid any of the common mistakes, or like putting the leg forward. People sit off here, or they grab the foot and just pull it up. That fully torques the knee. So I do like bringing people every once in a while into pigeon this way. And I don't teach pigeon much these days. Okay, knees up to the left, feet to the right, toes pointed, toenails into the floor. Right leg lifts up and crosses. Right knee widens so the hips and shoulders are squared like a table. Squeeze foot and knee together, push through the hands, and then see if you can lift up. Stretch the arms up. And imagine you're like a tree. As you push down, you're growing your roots down. When a seed is planted, the first direction it grows is down. Grows its seeds down, and then the soil sends nutrients to the roots. So root down, find the nutrients, let the nutrients come to you, and allow that to help you grow up, grow more stable. Little side stretch. Trees are also a great example of how important challenges are in our life. They have found that if trees don't encounter the stress of wind, they'll topple due to their own weight. So the trees need the challenge of wind to grow tall and steady. So maybe whatever challenge you might be facing, if you can turn into it, open up to it, it can give you even more steadiness and more blissfulness than you would be without that challenge. Okay, we made it to our peak-ish pose, the tree pose. We're gonna come into it from Wild Thing. So there's 2 versions of Wild Things. One is, so I'm gonna come into like a side plank. Just watch it first. One is you turn both of your feet to the back of the room. This is much more like around Urdhva-dhanurasana, which is this pose, which we haven't prepped for as much. So since we've just been doing side planks, the Wild Thing that'd be more appropriate with this sequencing is a wild plank that resembles more of a side plank. So from side plank, I'm gonna lift up this leg, let my toes skin behind the knee, and my hips are gonna stay more like side plank. Does that make sense? Okay, so come up to plank. Let's go heels to the right. Lift up the left knee. Draw the left foot back pretty close behind the right knee. Lift up the hips. Lift up the left side body. Squeeze your muscles in so you feel stable, and then push out and lengthen. And then pull back through side plank. Use your core. Lift the left leg up. Step it forward, high runner's lunge. Options, you can come up to lunge. This is a little bit more accessible, and we're gonna practice pressing up from lunge. A little bit more advanced to do it from down here. Sit bones back and broad, push through the foot, draw up. Try that a few times. The pushing down is what you need to rise. And then come up, balance on your left foot, tree pose. Allow yourself to open up to whatever is coming in this moment, whatever is going to come in this day, in this week, in this year. And allow whatever is there to be the nutrients you need for that samadhi, for seeing things clearly, and no matter what is there, let it deepen your blissfulness. You can stay here. We haven't done a ton of hamstring stretches, but you can also grab onto the foot. Thighs back, push down, chest up. Maybe straighten the leg. It helps me to straighten if I pull on my foot as I push my foot into the resistance. And then nice, come on back. Step back to lunge. Plank. Heels to the right. Nope, that's your left. Heels to the left. Lift up the right leg. Wild thing. Index knuckle strong. Engage your core. Lift up. Step forward, either from a high runner's lunge or from a lunge, press up and balance. Step back. And up. And back. Tree pose. Or moving towards Utthita Padangusthasana B. Pelvis. We want the pelvic bowl to be more neutral. Sit bones back. That's going to allow you to root down through the four corners of the feet more. Remember, your offering does not need to look like my offering. Wherever you are, hint of a smile. Great, step back lunge. Downward facing dog. Lower to your knees, and then come and sit on your bum. I like to have a blanket whenever I sit on my hips, and most of us, the tendency is to have a rounded low back, and we want a lordotic low back. Lordotic low back means that the sacrum is going in and up, not that the ribs jut forward and so our back looks like it's arching. We want to be able to rotate the pubic bone forward and the sitting bone back. Extend your right leg out. Oh, thank you for this flower. This is so beautiful. It's like a mini orchid. Thank you. Don't pick the rest of these though. Let them grow.
Okay.
Thank you.
Here's the mom.
Speaking of orchids, right, from the Vyaghrapada, so there's two ways you can do Dhanusarasana. One is where the foot comes into the inner thigh. This one's very similar to tree. So in this case, the foot's going to be flexed. Or you pull the right heel towards the right inner groin. And this time the foot's going to be pointed. So pointed, but toenails pulling back. I like to manually move the glutes back so the pelvic bowl is more neutral. And then hands frame the right leg. Twist yourself from the left to the right. Sit up nice and tall. If you feel like you're rounding here, it might be even more appropriate to lean back so you can get a more lifted spine. Hold the outside edge of the right leg, left leg with the right hand, pull up. Stage one. Push down through the left heel, down through the sitting bones, down through the right knee, get taller. Maybe begin to arch forward. Holding on to either your calf or maybe the outside edge of the foot. Draw the sit bones back. Pull your spine forward and keep your belly in. So it's not about just laying on the leg. It's about strengthening and lengthening. Move your left elbow to the inside edge of the left knee. You could have a block here. Right hand to your hip. Turn your chest up to the sky. Chin slightly tucked. Lengthen through the crown of your head. Stay here or stretch your arm up or over. Maybe reach for your toes. Draw the right ribs up and pull. Little bend in your left knee so you're not hyperextending. And then come all the way up. Second side. So again, foot can be flexed or wide. Pull the glutes. Draw yourself up. For hyperextenders, muscle energy is really helpful. So pushing down through the front heel and dragging the heel back to the hip will help the knee stay toned so the knee doesn't lock out. Stay upright or maybe lower back. Get that lift in the low back or hinge forward. What's your offering gonna be? What's cool about these home practices is there's no competition with the person next to you. So really let it be what is authentic for you and what's gonna serve you today, next week, in 10 years. If you are more rounded, the goal is to create more length. Try to lengthen yourself forward. If you're more flexible, the goal is to tone yourself in. And then right elbow, inner knee, left hand on hip, push down, stretch up, over, or hold the foot. Breathe. Feel like you can expand here. Even in this pose, it might feel constricted. Here, come on back up. And take your feet forward, hands behind your back, heart lifted, feet engaged, feet spread, heels draw back to the butt, rotate knees from side to side. So the leg moves in one unit, you're getting a glute massage, you're getting some pecs opening. Imagine that you're wringing out anything that's not serving you. Maybe it's the wanting to turn away from things. And then come up to a seated meditation, or you can lay on your back for Shavasana. Scan through your body, and if there's any tension in the body or mind, see if you can let it soften. Or at least let the grip it has on your psyche soften. So you can notice more than one thing. And see if you can expand yourself so much that you can feel a level of happiness, ananda, bliss, that comes from being alive, living in this human body during great times of pulsation and discomfort. And if that's not accessible to you, that's okay. Try to remain more open. be a reminder to turn and expand more and not allow one thing overcome your whole experience. And if you're on your back, begin to deepen your breath. And wiggle your fingers, maybe stretch your arms and your toes away from each other. And to make your way up to a seated meditation. And what position are you going to take? What position are you going to take to what is happening in front of you? Is it going to be one that turns you away from others, separates you, makes you feel truly isolated? Or can it be one that allows you to continue to engage and connect and expand, even if it looks different than it has in the past? And it's like the lotus flower. It uses the nutrients of the mud and the shit and whatever's at the bottom of the pond, right? And whatever is there, it allows it to grow upward and open, always seeking more light. And if it wasn't for the challenges, for the darkness, for the muck, it wouldn't happen. And rub your hands together. Hopefully your hands are fairly clean, no touch in the face. And allow your hands to soften over the eyes. Allow the heat of the hands to soften the eyeballs, the optic nerve, all the way back to the brain. Bring your hands in front of your heart. Let's end with one Om. Take a full inhale. Exhale. And we'll chant, let it be an offering for collective healing. Namaste. I'm really grateful to be able to connect with you in this way. Please send me a message so I know that we connected. So I just feel like I'm talking to a camera, that there are people on the other end that I'm really connecting to. And if I cannot answer any of your questions, please reach out. You can find me on my social media accounts, Kimberly Achelis-Hoggan, or email me at kachelis@hotmail.com. And thank you again.